Good evening and welcome to We the People. We call ourselves one of the fastest growing economies in the world and constantly assess our worth in terms of growth targets. But what is the value of an Indian life? Isn't life really cheap in a sense in India? As the divide between the rich and the poor grows, are we becoming more and more desensitized? This past week, we saw the shocking image of an ordinary toll attendant on the highway between Delhi and Gurgaon shot dead, all over a dispute that concerned a ticket worth 27 rupees. His killers are still on the run. When those sensational images fade from public memory, what will his family be left with? 27 rupees was enough to take a life. But behind that, behind the larger questions over how much an Indian life is worth, is a debate around poverty in a country which, as we said, constantly talks about growth targets. The Planning Commission has earned the ire of an entire country by deciding to place before the Supreme Court in an affidavit figures that draw a controversial poverty line. Figures that suggest that if you earn above 32 rupees a day in the cities, you do not get to be classified as a poor person living in a city. And if you earn above 26 rupees in a village, then well, you're not poor either by the definitions placed before the Supreme Court based on a research paper presented by the Tendulkar Committee. On the program today, we look at how much we value the Admi. Is it just an electoral slogan? Should we accept such a cutoff for poverty figures? Are we basically telling our people that if you aren't starving, you aren't poor? Let me get started with Renuka Chaudhary. Renuka, if I may, for a party that has positioned itself as being a party of the Admi, this is a defense that has come from the Planning Commission of your government, of your party's government. It seems insensitive, it seems callous. We all understand that in every country there are poverty lines that need to be drawn, they are constantly updated, they're usually reference points. But here you're actually saying to the poor of this country that if you earn 33 rupees a day, you are not poor.
Barkha, actually I think this whole debate is a little premature in us taking it up in public space and domain, because this is what the Planning Commission has come out with. It has neither been ratified nor accepted, and the cabinet itself, ministers have spoken to them, and the Deputy Commissioner has said that this is not the final word. So they're going back to
But isn't it wrong signalling at a time when the middle class, which makes up the studio audience, is having really a tough time making ends meet? To tell a poor person that 33 rupees makes you non-poor.
We'll have to, that's oversimplifying. That's oversimplifying what they have done. First, we'll need to understand the parameters which they have applied and how they have arrived at this conclusion, and also whether it is a dated survey or whether it is relevant to 2011 with the present price.
Is it personally palatable to you to hear this? Of
course not. Why would it be palatable to anyone? I'm as much a citizen of this country, and I know that it does make a difference to your household bills. So it's certainly not something that we've sweepingly accepted or rejected. We must understand that there is a body of people who are actually involved in doing these exercises repeatedly and periodically for establishing certain...
So the Congress is not willing to accept this as a basis for policy making?
Not at all.
Not at all.
You have to understand that this will go and will be debated in the food security bill.
Okay.
This is not the end all of
This is not the final word on policy making.
Not at all. So I must dispel that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Mir Shah, then, as somebody who's a part of the Planning Commission, the question arises, what is the purpose of this data? If it's not going to actually influence policy, as Renuka is saying, politically completely uncomfortable with this being the basis for policy drafting, what is its purpose?
I think that's a very good question you asked me, because that is really what we must begin with. What was the purpose of the Tendulkar Committee report? Because it's very important, because a lot of hullabaloo has occurred around this report, and it's very important to understand what the report was trying to do. Any country, any government needs to understand the impact of its programs and policies on poverty over time, right? And the Tendulkar Committee was given a very specific task of using a methodology which would give comparable and comparative estimates of poverty over time.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free ndtv.com/apps.